We all know Dragon Ball. It's an iconic series that has shaped anime as we know it. It shaped my youth. Now the battles, the transformations, the unforgettable moments. But behind every Kamehameha, behind every Super Saiyan transformation, there's an intricate web of creative forces, business decisions, and key players. Today, we deep dive into the business behind Dragon Ball, the players who shaped it, and what lies ahead for the franchise after the passing of Akira Toriyama. Because Dragon Ball didn't just happen, it was built. Welcome to Fancy Finance, everyone, where we deep dive into your favorite animes and pop culture shows, and we talk about the finances, the economics, and we look under the hood. And as always, if you like what you see and you love this place, please like, subscribe, and check out the Patreon. What are you waiting for? Are you ready? Let's go. It all starts with a man named Akira Toriyama. Now in 1984, Toriyama, already known for his work on Dr. Slump, launched a new manga in Weekly Shonen Jump called Dragon Ball. Now, initially, it wasn't Dragon Ball Z as we know of it today. Or no. In the earlier chapters, it was more of a whimsical journey, loosely based on the Chinese novel Journey to the West. It had humor, a sense of adventure, but with the stakes that were much lower than what we know of today. Toriyama's creative genius came through not just his artwork, but in his ability to build a world that was both familiar and fantastical. Now Goku, the protagonist, was a hero for a new age, childlike and innocent, yet he was full of potential. And just as Goku's story was about to unlock hidden powers, so too was the Dragon Ball story about to unlock its true potential. At the heart of this success was Toriyama's personal touch. He created Dragon Ball through his own studio, Bird Studio, which gave him unprecedented control over the IP. Now Toriyama wasn't just a creator, he was an owner. Now this control would later prove crucial when the series began to evolve. But here's the kicker, Toriyama could not do this alone. Behind every successful manga is a powerful publisher, and in this case, it was Shueisha. Now Weekly Shonen Jump, where Dragon Ball was first published, was already a juggernaut in the manga world. But Shueisha saw something special in Dragon Ball, and they decided to nurture it. With every chapter, Shueisha's editors helped refine Toriyama's vision. The early episodes were lighter, with more comedic elements, but Shueisha recognized that fans wanted more action. Now under their guidance, the series took a bit of a shift that would change everything. Now, as Dragon Ball transitioned from a whimsical adventure to a high-stakes world of Dragon Ball Z, Shueisha was there to make sure that every chapter was hitting the right notes. Their editorial team helped push Toriyama to lean into the epic battles, the transformations, and the deeper the character development that would eventually define the series. But Shueisha's influence didn't stop with the manga. They had a vision to take Dragon Ball global, and they started securing publishing deals in Europe, the US, and Latin America. This early global expansion was key, because by the time Dragon Ball was ready to explode, the world was already watching. Now, while the manga was a runaway hit in Japan, it was the anime adaptation by Toei Animation that transformed Dragon Ball into a worldwide sensation. When Dragon Ball first aired in 1986, it took the adventure from page to screen. But it wasn't until Dragon Ball Z launched in 1989 that things truly blew up. The shift from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z wasn't just a name change, it was a fundamental shift in tone. The stakes were higher, the fights were more intense, and the transformation, let's just say they got a little bit more legendary. Now Toei Animation played a crucial role in making sure that these battles felt larger than life. Their work on the animation, the pacing, and even the music turned Dragon Ball Z into a must-watch TV. But what really took the series to another level was Toei's decision to localize the anime for Western audiences. It was a move that would change anime forever. Now, Toei's partnerships with international broadcasters brought Dragon Ball Z to the US, Latin America, and Europe, turning Goku into a household name. For many of us outside Japan, Dragon Ball Z was the first anime we would ever watch, and it's what got us hooked. Dragon Ball Z wasn't my first anime, by the way, but it was probably the one that hooked many of us, that turned us into lifelong fans. While Toei was making sure Dragon Ball reached every screen, another key player in turning the franchise into a merchandising juggernaut was Bandai Namco. Now, Bandai was responsible for bringing Dragon Ball to life in another form, through toys, video games, and merchandise. But did you know, as of 2021, Dragon Ball had generated over $27 billion in merchandising sales, making it one of the most lucrative franchises in the world. But it wasn't just about making toys for kids. Now, Bandai understood that with every new transformation, every new character, there was an opportunity to create products that fans of all ages could engage with. From action figures to trading cards to video games, Bandai kept fans invested in the world of Dragon Ball, even when the anime wasn't showing any new episodes. In many ways, Bandai turns Dragon Ball into a multi-generational brand. Parents who grew up with Dragon Ball could now share it with their kids through merchandising and video games. And with each new release, Bandai ensured that the series remained relevant, adapting to the times and staying very true to its roots. By the late 2000s, Dragon Ball was already a global powerhouse. But there was a new generation of fans ready to experience it. Enter Dragon Ball Z Kai, a remastered version of Dragon Ball Z that trimmed the fat, literally. Now, Kai was faster, more streamlined, and cut out a lot of the infamous filler episodes that bogged down the original show. Now, Toei Animation knew what they were doing with Kai. They took the classic episodes, updated them for the modern audience, cleaning up the animation and tightening up the pacing. But what made Kai particularly smart was its ability to reintroduce Dragon Ball Z to a younger audience while keeping the core story intact. Now, this was a strategic move that reignited passion amongst longtime fans, bringing in new ones. Now, Kai didn't just remaster the show, it reasserted Dragon Ball Z's place as one of the greatest anime of all time. Now, as the years passed, Toriyama took more of a backseat, but Dragon Ball wasn't done. Enter Toyotaro, the man who was handpicked by Toriyama to take the reins. Now, Toyotaro had been a fan of Dragon Ball long before he ever became a part of the franchise, and his deep respect for the world that Toriyama built shines through his work with Dragon Ball Super. Did you know that by 2017, Dragon Ball Super manga had sold millions of copies worldwide, proving that Toyotaro was more than capable of carrying the torch? But it wasn't just about maintaining the status quo. Now, Toyotaro brought his own style and ideas to the table, adding new characters, expanding the lore, and with arcs like Tournament of Power, Super proved that Dragon Ball was still capable of delivering epic moments that could rival the original series. Now, under Toyotaro's guidance, Dragon Ball found a way to stay fresh while still honoring its original roots. And perhaps the greatest testament to Toyotaro's success is the trust that Toriyama placed in him, knowing that the world that Toriyama created was still in good hands. In 2024, the anime world would be shaken by the news of Akira Toriyama's passing. It marked the end of an era, not just for Dragon Ball, but for anime as a whole. Now, Toriyama wasn't just a creator, he was a cultural icon. He was someone who had shaped the childhoods of millions of people. Some might say billions of people. For many of us, the loss of Toriyama felt personal. He was the one who brought Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and so many others into our lives. And while his death marks the end of his direct involvement in the series, his legacy lives on for millions of fans who still find inspiration in his work. But what happens next? With Dragon Ball Daima on the horizon, the franchise is entering into a new era. Daima represents a shift, one of the first major projects without Toriyama at the helm. But even though he's no longer with us, his influence is still being felt. Now, Toriyama laid the foundation for what Dragon Ball is today, and Toyotaro, along with the key players, are building on that foundation. There is uncertainty, yes, but there's also hope. The Dragon Ball universe is vast, and the stories left to tell are endless. Now, with the right balance of nostalgia and innovation, Dragon Ball can continue to thrive, keeping Toriyama's legacy alive with new opportunities and vast new areas to explore. What makes Dragon Ball so unique is its ability to evolve while still staying true to its core. And with the team behind Dragon Ball Daima, including Toyotaro, Toei Animation, and a new generation of creators, there's every reason to believe that the franchise will continue to captivate generations for many years to come. So, what is the takeaway from all of this? Dragon Ball wasn't just built by one man. It was the result of a collaboration between visionaries like Akira Toriyama, publishing giants like Shueisha, animation powerhouses like Toei, and merchandising masterminds like Bandai. But at the heart, Dragon Ball has always been about more than just business. It's a story that resonates with people because of the themes of growth, perseverance, and hope. And as we look into Dragon Ball Daima and beyond, there's one thing clear. Toriyama's legacy will continue to inspire, entertain, and to unite fans all over the world. I hope you enjoyed the first in the series of the business power players behind. I hope to make this a really cool series, and if there is an anime that you want me to look into, I'm thinking about the power players behind One Piece, the power players behind Bleach, the power players behind Pokemon. Feel free to drop it in the comments and we can look a little bit deeper under the hoods of your favorite anime. And as always, thank you very much. Like the video, subscribe, and as always, check out the Patreon for more content and even more deeper, uncensored, more in-depth looks into the mature anime. What are you waiting for? As always, see you guys later.